Welcome back to CBLT's channel, everybody. We're sitting here once again with Peter, and it's been a little bit, so we have several updates we want to go through with you guys today. Peter, how are you, man?
I'm okay. Thanks for having me back, man.
Perfect. Very glad to have you here. First and foremost, tell me what's going on with Ciscom. It's been a little bit since we've heard about that.
Well, Ciscom is an investee. CBLT is invested in that. It's helping them with its capital market strategy. We haven't been able to say a lot about Ciscom because they hadn't filed their prospectus yet. But a couple of weeks back, Ciscom filed its preliminary prospectus, which means the information is now in the public domain, which means I can talk about it. And it's pretty good information.
Perfect. So moving on from there, what can people expect to see now? This is something we had hinted at this largely as much as we possibly could over time. But now that it's out in the open, what do people need to know?
Go read the preliminary prospectus. It's available at www.cdar.com. You will see a pro forma of Ciscom and its two acquisitions, one of which it's already closed on, the other of which is in process. Their combined revenue pro forma as at December 31st was about $27 million with earnings on the bottom line. So this is a real company with real revenue, with real cash flow. And we're expecting that to grow going forward, and Ciscom is lining up its next acquisitions as we speak.
Perfect. You guys heard the man. Go read that. Do your own research. Let us know if you have any questions. But now, Peter, let's turn back to CBLT.
Sorry, before we leave Ciscom, full disclosure, I'm on the board of Ciscom because we're a 10% shareholder, and I want to influence its affairs, make sure it does good compliance, good governance, does all the right things.
Very well said. Very good disclaimer there, Peter. So now looking at CBLT, tell me about some updates at Shatford Lake.
As you know, 2021 was a bit of a disaster for us there with the forest fires, the early snowfall, and the government taking my helicopter to help fight the forest fires. Yeah, you got to laugh. So we're figuring it's going to even out this year. The field team is ready to go. We've talked to one of our neighbors about running a joint exploration program because there's as you remember from the map, there's a big structure that comes onto our property, off our property, back onto our property. There's no point sending in two field teams to explore that same structure because anything that's good for my neighbor is going to be good for us. So the field teams are currently coordinating a schedule where they can get out into the field and start mapping and taking samples on that eastern part of Shatford Lake.
Perfect. So with this, hopefully this mining season panning out a lot better than last year's. When can people expect to hear more?
We will put out a press release as soon as I have a fixed date for the start of the field program. Then there'll be a press release about any maps I get or nice pictures they send me from the field. And after that, the big results will, of course, be the assay results from the lab. Labs are taking about 8 weeks at this time. So assuming they get in the next couple of weeks, we should have results by the end of summer.
Perfect. Look forward to hearing from that. But Peter, let's take a look at Big Duck Lake now. Any updates there?
You know, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. We've been trying to get into Big Duck Lake for a bit, but we're running into some problems, as you know, not with First Nations, but with the Ontario government's relation with First Nations. We're a casualty and a byproduct of that iffy relationship. But and that's to get a drill permit, which is an invasive, loud event. It affects wildlife, it affects the flora and the fauna. We're very ESG aware, so we're waiting to get our drill permit. But it just so happens a prospector geologist friend of mine is going to be in that area. And we've asked her, just make a bit of a left turn, zip onto our property and have a look at the zinc blast pits at the north end. There is a theory that there is a big zinc path starting down at the Pick River mine, coming north to the Winston Lake mine, both past producers, and then bending and coming right across the north part of our property. We have historical records of blast pits with high-grade zinc, which lends some support to that theory. So our prospector geologist friend is going to go to look at the historical blast pits at the north end, do some mapping, take some pictures, grab some samples. So we should have those results back in 8-10 weeks as well.
Wow. Yeah. Glad to hear it. As you said, there's a lot you cannot control when it comes to these. You're kind of stuck between two different entities here. And like you said, you're the man in the middle. But as you said, sometimes it's better to be lucky. And it sounds like things are going to be marching forward regardless. Last but not least, has there been anything else going on in terms of M&A activity?
Well, you know, we always say you can make as much money with the pen as you can with the drill bit. And the fact that the company's been around 11 years now, only 70 million shares out, and has never done a consolidation is proof of that. We've been able to raise funds through M&A activity to prevent dilution, prevent hurting the shareholders. So we are always in discussions on M&A, whether we're going to buy something, sell something, JV something. And with the battery metal space heating up, with the provincial government in Ontario contributing finances to critical metals, with the federal government including billions of dollars for critical minerals in the federal budget from early April, we're expecting our battery metal properties to be of interest.
So, Peter, can you elaborate on that a little bit more of government involvement and how you get involved with them?
Well, the first thing you do is engage with local officials. ESG is important. Whether or not you're expecting money from them, just be a good neighbor. Go see them. But neither the federal government nor the provincial government has yet released the regulations that will cover how the money gets distributed, how you apply for funds. Will it be, we just don't know what it's going to be yet. So we have to wait for the actual documentation to come out that puts those intentions into effect.
Makes a lot of sense. So everyone, will keep you updated on that as more news comes along the wire. Peter, it sounds like we have a lot of things cooking in the pot right now that we can update people on. Is there anything else you think people need to know about right now or that they should be looking out for?
That's about it. Now, as you say, there's a lot going on. It's like that duck that looks calm on the surface, but you're paddling like hell under the water. There are a lot of things that are coming to fruition, whether they're pandemic affected or not, but they're coming to fruition now. And Ciscom is one of them. We're very happy with how it's progressing, and we should see a update or response on the prospectus in the next few weeks.
Perfect. Well, Peter, thank you for the updates. Thank you for your insight, and thank you everybody for watching. Don't be afraid to ask any questions and stay tuned for more coming soon.